go, folks, and welcome back to the second episode of Season 5 of the Comeback series of Guardians and Gladiators. I'm your host, Losey, and today is a great day. It's the eve of the ALDS, where the Toronto Blue Jays will play the New York Yankees tomorrow. We'll start that series. So when this taping is released, who knows? Will the Jays be up 2-0 or will the Yankees be up 2-0? We will find out at the end of the weekend. So let's get going. Today, for my guest is a guy that I met back in October through emails and text messages, and I was glad that I was part of their award banquet, winning the Courage Award for them for this year. And here he is from LondonSports.com, Jeff Reed. How are you today?
Great, Losey. Hey, thanks very much for having me on. I'm a big fan of your show, so this is a big thrill. I'm finally a guest. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I see you're wearing a hat from the other side.
Now, there's a story behind this hat. So I am actually a big Pittsburgh Pirates fan, but we know how that team's been doing over the last 3 decades. But my father, who passed away in 2014, he was a huge Yankees fan. He went to Yankee Stadium way back in the day when Mantle and Maris were hitting all those home runs back in the early 60s. And I told him that I would carry on the tradition for him. So when my Pirates are not in the playoffs, I gotta go for the Bronx Bombers, baby. I know that's not very popular with the Blue Jay fans around here, and hey, it is what it is. It's going to be a great series, I think.
I think so too. I think it'll go all five games.
You might be right. I think that both teams have solid pitching, great players off the bench. Maybe the Blue Jays are a little bit more solid in that department. I don't know. I think the Blue Jays are a team of destiny. It would not surprise me if they win the World Series this year. But, you know, we'll see what happens. But you're right. It's going to be a great series.
Yeah. So when did you get started in the media spectrum of in sports?
That's a good question. And, you know, I was thinking about that today, Chris. And when I was 11 years old, I used to go down to Labatt Park with a tape recorder, a cassette recorder, and a microphone. And I would sit all alone in the bleachers watching my London Majors, who later I would play for and coach with. And for an audience of one, being me, I would broadcast the game into a tape recorder, and then I would bring it to local radio stations and have them give me their comments on it. So it goes way back to when I was about 11 years old. I was doing this. I was playing Tyke baseball for the Eager Beaver Baseball Association, and when I wasn't pitching or playing shortstop, I was at Labatt Park broadcasting for an audience of one into a cassette recorder.
That's awesome.
And the rest, as they say, here we are, gosh, more than 50 years later, and it's been quite a ride.
And you worked for like the London Free Press and
yeah, so you know, I started in broadcasting. So I went to Fanshawe College and I studied in the School of Broadcast Journalism. Very tough course. We had about 40 students first year, and by second year, only 9 of us returned. That's how tough it was.
Wow.
2 of us graduated. And I worked for CHLO Radio in St. Thomas, CKSL Radio in London. I did a little bit of freelancing with CJBK. 2 of those stations are no longer on the air. That shows you how old I am, Chris. they're
we will not go to that part.
No, we won't go there. I did a lot of TV over the years, CTV Kitchener, a little bit for CTV London, as it's now called, McLean Hunter Television back in the day, Rogers TV. I had a very popular golf show called Forest City Fairways. So I would go out and I would challenge the pro to the signature hole, and I would profile the history of the golf course. It was a great time, and I still do some broadcasting, and obviously I do some new media with LondonOntarioSports.com and LondonOntarioGolf.com. But print has really been, my first love. I'm currently contributing to over 200 magazines across Canada and the U.S. And you're right, over the years I've written for many, many years. I wrote for the London Free Press and all of their magazines. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm 63 years old now, and there's still no slowing down, Losey. Still got the fire in the belly.
That's good. That's good. With being like working with like the London Free Press and stuff, what it was like your biggest sports story that you ever wrote or
gosh,
did?
That's the best part of this job is all the interesting people that you get to meet. Sometimes some not very nice people, but that's part of the job. I think if you're going to talk about sports, gosh, I can remember going down to old Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh to watch the Pirates and the Astros and interviewing Barry Bonds, who, of course, now is the all-time home run leader in Major League Baseball history. So being up close and personal with Barry Bonds was quite a thrill. Going down again to Pittsburgh and getting up close and personal with Mario Lemieux, watching the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was a huge thrill back in the early 90s when they were winning Stanley Cups. Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe. A lot of hockey players over the years, obviously, being up here in Canada. And, I've seen a lot of great London Knights come and go over the years. But I think in baseball, probably that's where most of my big interviews came. And I think Barry Bonds would probably top that list.
That's
and then,
cool.
In addition to covering Major League Baseball, I've covered the PGA Tour. So to interview Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, Tom Watson, all these, Hall of Fame golfers, Padraig Harrington, who turns out is a distant relative of mine, won the British Open twice. So, as I say, that's the best part of this job is all the great people that you get to meet. And I've got to meet some of my heroes over the way too.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun, and who knows what the future holds. I mean, like I say, I have no intention of ever retiring. I think once you're a reporter, you're always a reporter, and if you have a job like mine, Chris, where you love going to work every day, it doesn't seem like a job, and I'm very, very lucky that way.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's talk about that. About how you played for the London Majors and ended up coaching them as well.
I did. So that's, I guess, kind of the other part of my life is being an athlete. So my story is that I'm a disabled person. So from head to toe, I have scores of disabilities. For example, I have a club foot. My left leg is half the size of my right as far as circumference. I have spina bifida occulta, and I have scoliosis. I also have what's called Chiari malformation, where the brain sits a little bit too low in the back of the head and can cause dizziness from time to time. And then on top of that, all the sports injuries that I've had over the years. So I always say, Chris, if I was a horse, they would have shot me a long time ago. But I was a great baseball player. I can remember, playing when I was 13 years old on 3 teams and being an all-star and, working out with the London Majors. When I was 14 years old, they let me come and practice with them, and even being impressed by my arm back then. But, as you get older, sometimes baseball takes a back seat and you don't follow your baseball dreams. And I got very involved in the media, and obviously that was, 60 hours a week. It was a big commitment, still is. But, I had a dream that I knew that someday I could play at the level of the London Majors. I was once told that I could have played pro ball, but because of my disabilities, even though I had the ability, they would have held me back. I would not have been able to play baseball every single day. And how the Blue Jays, for example, play 162 games plus playoffs from February to November is just beyond my comprehension. But I knew that I could play for the London Majors, so I lived a childhood dream. When I was 39 years old, I became a rookie with the London Majors in the year 2000. And in 2001, I pitched a game, and I was also coaching third base. So I would be coaching third base, run down to the bullpen, warm up as a relief pitcher, and I used to be at Labatt Park at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for an 8 o'clock game. That's how much I loved being a part of the London Majors. But doctors said that I would never be able to walk properly, I'd never run, and I could never play sports. Yet I played and pitched with the London Majors, and it was a dream come true.
How long were you with the organization?
Well, it's interesting because if you look at all the different jobs that I had with the Majors, from being a kid right up to being a coach. So let's start at about age 8, when I used to chase the foul balls. If somebody hit a foul ball, I would chase it down and then get the ball back and give it back to the ball club. I even took a turn being a bat boy once. Later on, I was a team photographer. I handled all the media. I was a public address announcer. I did radio and TV, play-by-play, and color commentating. In 1994, I founded the Intercounty Baseball League Media Relations Office. They had never had one before then. Founded that, ran it for 3 years, and I'm very happy that it's still running today. And then, of course, I came out of the press box, got back in shape, was a third base coach, ran the show down at the third base box, which was pretty cool, Chris. Pretty cool doing that for 2 years. And then here's the story about my pitching appearance. It was the last game of the year, and we're in Hamilton. And they brought me in as a relief pitcher. It was my dream come true, but now, who do I have to face? I have 2 out, no runs allowed. Who am I facing? Sean Riley, who turns out to be the all-time home run king in the Intercounty. Struck him out looking, hung him up, and retired. Now, how about that?
That must have been nervous.
That was a fairy tale ending. And I'll tell you, by the end of the season, I was pretty beat up. I didn't have much on the mound that night, but, the good Lord willing, we got through it. And back in 2016, because I pitched in Hamilton, the Hamilton Cardinals invited me as a guest, and I got to throw out the first pitch. And who caught it? Sean Riley, the same guy I struck out in 2001. So that was a pretty cool thing to do. So, yeah, I would dare to say that there's nobody that's played so many different roles with the Majors as I have. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
But, Chris, a day doesn't go by where I don't pinch myself, honest to God, every day saying, wow, did I really do that? A disabled person, but I pitched for the London Majors. How about that? So today I use that story and I inspire other people to also do great things. And that's my legacy, is to use my story to help other people.
And then from the London Majors, you became a pro golfer. How did that?
I did. I know. Some people call me Forrest Gump because they say, "Did you really do all those things?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably the biggest message I have in life is don't let people define who you are. If you want to do something, dream big, work hard, and do it. Who cares what other people think? Right? Be true to yourself." So I retired from the London Majors in 2001, and I was out of shape in 2003. In fact, in 2003, I had a mini stroke and was hospitalized. And I said, this has got to change. I'm an athlete. I'm an elite athlete. Play at a high level in sports. I need another sport. And I literally looked at my golf clubs, because I played golf since age 11 as well. And I said, I'm going to become a golf pro. And again, many people doubted me. There's no way he's going to do that. I think I was about a 14 handicap back then. But I'll tell you, nobody worked harder than me. I joined Echo Valley Golf Club just so I could walk up and down those hills to get in shape. And played my 100 rounds a year. And, when I retired from golf, and I'll talk about that as well, I was a plus 2.6 handicap index, fully sponsored athlete. I had a shoe deal. I had an apparel deal. My golf clubs were given to me. I wasn't paying for my golf. I mean, I was very, very fortunate and met a lot of great people, still do, through golf. But I worked really, really hard. And, it was tough because with my disabilities, I really had to create a homemade swing. I mean, let's put it this way. My swing did not look like Tiger Woods, okay? It was nothing near Tiger's. Tiger would have looked at me, laughed, and walked away, I think. But I got it done. I mean, on the days that my back was good and the body felt good, I could play with any pro in town. In fact, many of those episodes when we filmed Forest City Fairways, I beat the pros. It was hard work. Ben Hogan, Hall of Fame golfer, once said you need to find it in the dirt, meaning practice, practice, practice. And that's what I did. And later on, I became a member at Green Hills Country Club, and then I finished my career at Highland Country Club, and that's where the best golf of my life came, because if you've played Highland, have you played Highland, Chris?
No, I haven't, no.
You'll have to get out there someday. Beautiful inner city course. I hit the ball left to right, and all but 2 holes you can hit the ball left to right at Highlands. So the course was custom made for me, not overly long. I just felt at home there with my golf game, and I think the most important part too was I found some good buddies to golf with. And that makes a huge difference. If you have a foursome that you can golf with every day or whenever you can get out, that's going to make a big difference to your game because you feel comfortable with those people. So I was very fortunate to do that. So, worked really, really hard. Still am the co-record holder at Caradoc Sands in Strathroy, where I shot a 62. And some people doubt this, but I once shot a 60 at the Fox Golf Club in Granton.
No.
So those, only 1 hole on one. You can see the plaque behind me here. That was at Echo Valley Golf Club in, I think, 2005, at hole number 17. My only hole-in-one. The only time I really came close, to be quite honest with you. It's funny how that happens. You can't work towards getting a hole-in-one. It just happens, right?
Yep.
But yeah, that was my golf career, and it was a great time. Again, it's about the people that you meet, right? So I met some outstanding people through golf. Still do as a golf journalist. But I had a serious neck injury in 2019, and I had to retire from golf. And it's something that I deal with every day to some degree. Most days are pretty good. I've got a good team of doctors, but there are some days where I'm in a lot of pain, and that's that's part of the game. I mean, when you think about the fact that I was told I would never walk properly, yet I became a golf pro and I pitched for the London Majors. That's not too shabby. That's not too bad.
That's
Yeah,
the story right
like
there.
anybody that's 63 years old, I have my aches and pains, right? From playing sports all those years. But you add my disabilities on top of that, and there's some pretty tough days. I'm not going to lie, some pretty tough days.
So how did you come up with the LondonSports.com?
Yeah,
Media.
so this is an interesting story. So, as most people know, the media today is not what it used to be even 15, 20 years ago. There are fewer and fewer media outlets, which mean a lot of the teams and associations and clubs, they really don't know how to handle media relations because there's just not a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
In particular, the sports community of London is very underserved. So I think it was Boxing Day 2015, and my wife is trying on yet another dress that I had to give my opinion on. And I was sitting on a big, comfortable chair, and I picked up a local sports publication. I won't mention what it is. I don't even think it's published anymore. And I knew that, the free press had shrunk, and, there were so many sports being ignored in the city of London that was growing so largely at that time. And I said right there and then, I said, this community deserves better. The city of London and surrounding area needs to be better served, in particular, golf. It's hard to believe that I'm the only, nationally recognized golf writer in all of southwestern Ontario.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to believe that. There are some others that have dabbled in it that are in the area, and some that are no longer, freelance writing or writing for other publications. But somebody that's continued to do this as a full-time job, there is nobody else. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start LondonOntarioSports.com. Now, back in 2004, I launched LondonOntarioGolf.com that was just for golf. But in 2015, we took the entire golf website and we put that on the sports site. So now we just have one website, LondonOntarioSports.com. And we're getting over 300,000 visits every month, which is huge.
That is good.
Yeah, and I used to cover the Western Mustang football team in many different capacities. TV, radio, print. I used to cover the London Knights. I even for a couple of years did play-by-play of the London Knights for the college radio station. But they are covered to death. No disrespect to the Knights. The sports heartbeat of this community, I know that. And Western Mustang football, the best football program of any college in Canada, I recognize that. But everybody is pumping out the same information about these teams over and over again. And I said, in addition to golf, there's so much more. Rugby, soccer, ultimate frisbee, Special Olympics. I could go on and on and on. So it was a huge hit as soon as we launched it in late 2015 and just celebrated our 10th anniversary.
Nice. How from there you started the banquets. How did that all started?
Well, yeah, and I'll talk to you about the awards that we hand out, and we got to talk about you because you're one of our big award winners this year and on our wall of fame now, Chris.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations for that. And we'll talk about the big day that we had earlier this year.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not crying. I have bad allergies. The weather is so nice. Isn't this great weather? But
It has been.
My allergies are still hanging in there. I went for my
But
hour
most
hike
most mornings when it's cold, it's like, is it going to stay like this or is it going to change? And then it gets up to almost 30 every day.
I know. It's going to be a great weekend. You know, it'll be a bad weekend when the Blue Jays lose, but no, I'm just kidding. We'll see we'll see. Oh, am I wearing a Yankees hat? I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, you still have that Yankee hat on.
So let's talk about, the awards. So, I think what I'm most proud of, and my wife Beth is a big part of this too, is how we give back to the community. And, we don't say a lot about this, but it's just myself and my wife that run this business. And we recently surpassed $150,000 in charitable giving to London and area. And we're very, very proud of that. A big part of that is our annual Sports Award banquet. We just had our 21st banquet. So we have 4 major awards that we hand out. We hand out the London, Ontario Golf Heart Award, and that is given to a member of the Southwestern Ontario golf community who gives back to golf and grows the game. Back in 2014, we gave that award to Mike Weir. So he was our big winner back then. We also have the Best of London Golf Awards, and beginning next year, we're going to give that to one area golf course that has great customer service and great playing amenities. So a course that's really looked after well and also has great customer service. So we'll begin that next year. That award's taking a different form, but we're going to continue with that. Also, we have the Jeffrey Reed Courage Award. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because you are the 2025 winner. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, I use my story of being a disabled athlete to inspire other people to let others know about their story. So it's any age, any ability, anywhere from the Toronto area right down to Windsor. We get nominations every year. I think we had 78 people nominate themselves this year. And you came on top as the winner. And we also have a 4th award that we began just this year. That's called the LondonOntarioSports.com Community Spirit Award. So we give that to an individual or a group in London and area who uses sports, recreation, and fitness and gives back to the local community. And this year we gave that award to Sari Therapeutic Riding. And I believe your daughter rides horses there.
Yeah, she does every Thursday night. And we see the award sitting there all the time on their fireplace mantle.
Oh, do you? That's amazing.
Yeah. So Chloe's always happy to see that award when we're always there.
Amazing. Yeah. So let's talk about the Courage Award. So, I'm looking at the Courage Award right now. It's in this room that used to be my man cave, and it's hanging on the wall. So you were the 11th No, the 10th annual winner this year. That's
Yeah.
right, the 10th annual winner. So we have athletes nominate themselves on why they should be chosen. So they write an essay. They let us know about their athletics and how they inspire people, not only what they do in sports, but also what they do away from sports. And when we saw your essay, because I reached out to you and I said, we've never had a Special Olympian. Throw your hat in the ring. Give it a go. Let's see what game you've got here, Chris.
When you sent me that email and I was reading it and I was like, oh, darn, he wants me to do an essay. I can't do an essay, so I don't know what I'm gonna do here.
Well, I know a pretty good writer, but I couldn't write it for you.
Yeah, so I did my best.
Really, really good job.
I did my best.
Yeah.
I did my best doing the questions.
And that's all you can do in life, right?
Yeah, and then
100%.
I submitted all the stuff you needed, and I remember I was like, all right. I said to my wife, said, that's done. She's like, now what? I said, I think we just have to wait. I don't really know what's going on because I never heard of LondonSports.com or these awards before, so I guess we just have to wait. And over the time, I kind of forgot a little bit.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I kind of forgot until you called me on December 8th. I remember that. I was at work.
Wow, you got a great memory.
And you called and said, Chris, it's Jeff from London Sports. Said, yeah. And goes, so remember you did the essay and nominate your thing for our Courage Award? And like, yeah. And then I was thinking in my head, it's like, well, he's either probably telling me I won or I did my best and I didn't. And then, but when you told me I won, I was like, oh yeah, that was great. And then I gotta tell you something. After we're done, you said, but you have to keep it a secret until January.
That's right.
And I'm thinking in my head, he doesn't know who he's talking about to because I can't keep that long. But I'm going to try my best. Well, that didn't last long. Right after we hanged up, I called my mom. I called my wife. I called Rick Walker. I called Todd.
Right.
I called everybody. I said, but hey. Don't post anything or tell anybody until I get the okay. That's not until like 2 months from now. So please don't.
Oh my goodness. So what you're saying it was the worst kept secret in London.
Oh yeah. I could hold on. I was just so happy. Like, I can't keep a big secret like this. This is an award outside of Special Olympics that I had the opportunity to get.
Well, it's much deserved, and they did a good job keeping that secret because nobody knew about it except for your inner circle and my inner circle.
Yeah,
So
and I think when it came down to the awards, I had my table, and then there was like 2 tables all together. The ones that paid their own way to get in to be there for that day for me. It was just surreal.
Well, like I say, it was much deserved, and we were so glad to honor you that day. And like you say, I think we had about 100 people this year, and it was at Green Hills Country Club. We had a great meal. Great social hour, and then we had photos afterwards and plenty of speeches, and you did a really good job, I remember, with your speech.
Yeah.
And we got some photos taken, and I know we presented you with a new golf bag with your name embroidered on it.
Oh yeah, I was right away when our golf season started, I'm switching my bag. Everybody needs to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure people know you were last year's North American Special Olympics golf champion, which is huge.
Yep. Yep.
See, I'm in the honor of golf royalty today with Losey. I mean, that's going to go down in history, right? You're London's first North American Special Olympics golf champion.
Yep.
So that's a big deal. And I think what people need to understand, it's not just the trophy that you're going to hoist at the end of the tournament. It's the journey along the way, right? All the hard work that you put into it, especially with the game of golf, which can be so difficult.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had a great day at Green Hills, and I remember your speech, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house that day.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, and that was the first time you and I met, too.
Yeah, in person.
Yeah,
and with that, I'm so grateful and so grateful that I am part of the LondonSports.com family now, and I'm going to just share that forever.
Well, I'm so proud of you, and you see now, by being on our Wall of Fame, you can help inspire other people. I mean, people are going to hear your story because of winning the award, and now you'll inspire other people. And that's the whole idea, Chris, about the award, is to let people tell their stories and inspire others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you put your golf bag to good use this year?
Oh, I have. Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What's your best round this year?
I shot a 55 in Belmont.
Very good.
In the
now,
9
have you
holes.
had a hole-in-one before?
No.
You're still looking for number one.
It's still looking for that. If it comes, it comes. Yeah. If it doesn't, that's
It'll
okay.
My father, God bless him, played his whole life, and he never had a hole-in-one. My uncle, who was a very good golfer, a school teacher, so that's all he did in the summertime was golf, never had a hole-in-one. And he was a 2 handicap, never had a hole-in-one. So you just never know, do you? You never know. So we're already planning, Chris, for the next get together, the next award ceremony, and that'll be. We haven't got a date for that yet. It'll probably be May of next year. So we're looking forward to that. And you'll be there. You'll be handing off the Courage Award to the next winner.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And I know that you had a lot of the crew from Idlewood Inn come and support you that day.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was the other thing. Of course, I had to tell them because they were there. Because it was all at my work when I got that call, too. And I said, there's going to be a big banquet. And I think I asked, I should have at least the GM or my boss there. Because this is a big deal. And I think we should have that. And both of them came. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a big team from Idlewood that came to support you, and I could tell they were very, very proud of you.
Yep.
So that's the story of LondonOntarioSports.com, and it keeps me busy. It's at least an hour a day, and there's always scores to post, and most of the writing that I'm doing for it is going to be about golf because nobody else is doing golf. So I need to support golf, and I know that when you won the North American Special Olympics Golf Championship, well, I wrote a story and put that on my website for you.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I have to admit, I didn't know too much about you before that. I'm like, who's this Losey guy that's winning golf championships? And then as I read a little bit about you and found out more, I said, I got to get to know this guy. He sounds pretty cool. Now I have to ask you, who is your baseball team?
I wish tomorrow's game would have been the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay, enough said there. Enough said there. I've never been to Fenway Park. I need to go to Fenway Park. I've been to a lot of baseball parks, but not Fenway, and trying to convince my wife that we should make the trip down there sometime and watch the Red Sox. I've seen just about every team play at, first called Skydome, now Rogers Center, and old exhibition stadium, and I've been to Pittsburgh, been to spring training in Florida and watched all the teams play down there for many years. That was a lot of fun. And of course, Old Tiger Stadium and Comerica Park in Detroit, watching the American League teams, and the interleague play over there now you can watch, which is pretty cool. I think I've seen my Pirates play at 5 different parks, so that was pretty cool. But I'm glad I got down to Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh and before they imploded it, and watched the Pirates play when they actually had a good team and when the ownership was actually spending money to get some good players, unlike today. Different times down in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yes. Wasn't it one point Lemieux wanted to buy the Pirates as well? There was some kind of talk there.
He did. Yeah, he did, you know more than I do, Chris. I had never heard that story. I know that, buying into the Penguins really helped that franchise because, they were in disarray. Pittsburgh's really a small community. It's not a very big town. I'm trying to think of the population, maybe 650,000 if I'm correct. So it's not a big place. Of course, they have a lot of surrounding communities, and they're just mad about sports in Pittsburgh, especially their football with the Steelers. I mean, it's a football town. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, it's a small market. Obviously, the football ownership spends money, and the baseball ownership does not. And that's why I'm wearing a Yankees hat today.
Years ago, I've been telling people that someday, I believe Major League Baseball will have their very first billion-dollar contract. And it came up, Osana from the Dodgers.
You're right. When you think about baseball salaries, for example, when you think about the money that one team can make from selling merchandise, jerseys, hats, t-shirts, bobbleheads, everything, then talk about the tickets that they're selling to watch these superstars play, and then most of all, the TV rights, the money that they get from people that are advertising on TV. So when you think about these big salaries and how they're paid out over the years in different increments and different structures, you look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract. I mean, it's broken up into so many different pieces that it's not just a one lump sum payment. These teams, especially the Blue Jays, for example, and the New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers, they're making billions of dollars. So they're going to get their money back by signing the big names because it's going to sell merchandise and tickets and TV rights and so on and so on. So, I think back to baseball free agency. I mean, the most money Babe Ruth made in 1 year, I think, was $100,000. Think about that. Maybe the best player that ever played the game, the Bambino. You know,
hits a home run,
and
have a hot dog, have a cigar, and go back out there again.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. You know, he didn't need performance-enhancing drugs. He just needed hot dogs and beer. And look what he did,
Yeah,
right?
it
He was
smokes
kind
his
of a
cigars.
John Daly himself. He was a beauty. Gosh, that would have been so interesting to cover baseball back then when the Babe was playing. Can you imagine that? I mean, he was
Yeah.
a reporter's dream. But yeah, getting back to your statement about salaries, you know, it doesn't surprise me. And good call that somebody would make $1 billion. And you know, I remember I interviewed many years ago a fellow by the name of Bob Feller, one of the best Major League Baseball pitchers in history, even though he lost a lot of years during the Second World War. He had to quit baseball, get into a different kind of uniform, fight for his country, and then came back. And he said to me once, you know what? I don't blame the players for making as much money as they can. If the owners are going to pay it, more power to them. He said, that's what we fought the wars for, freedom.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty cool statement.
Yeah.
Now, it'd be nice if they shared a little bit of that money, wouldn't it? Gosh, can you imagine? You know, I couldn't imagine making that much money. It's, you know, the average person just can't wrap their head around that. But I mean,
No.
you know, it's supply and demand. If they're willing to pay it, more power to you.
Just for trying to hit a little ball with a stick.
I know. I mean, you know, when I do a lot of speaking engagements, and the one thing that I always mention is my heroes are doctors and nurses. You know, I mean, I spend a lot of time every month with doctors, and dealing with nurses, and, you know, I've been in the hospital quite a bit beginning as a little kid, and those are my heroes. I mean, they don't get the credit that they deserve. I don't think people think about doctors and nurses unless they actually need one.
Yeah.
Right? So someone like me who, you know, has medical appointments every month, I see firsthand what they're doing. And so I always give a shout out to doctors and nurses. I mean, it's amazing the work that they do and the hour. I just couldn't imagine being a doctor or a nurse.
No, I don't think I could do it either.
Well, you've done a lot already. I mean, you're one of my heroes. I mean, I said that at our banquet this year that,
Yeah.
you know, if you
Multiple
look at all the-
times.
if you look at all the adversity that you have faced over the years, right? And I wrote a long story about you. It's at my website at londonontariosports.com. If you look at that story and think about what you've been able to accomplish, I mean, it's pretty amazing, Chris. You're a hero to many people, and I hope you know that.
When I joined Special Olympics, I tell you, I wasn't out for all these awards. I was just there to just have fun and meet new people and stuff. And, you know, and over the years passed by, I got the Sports Person of the Year award, one of their big London Special Olympic awards. And yeah, all this stuff to me is just the extras that come. I don't do it for try to, I need to get that award, so I'm going to try this way or whatever. Don't matter. Yeah.
That you're pretty unselfish, and I'm so glad to hear you say that. And you're right. It's the journey along the way, right? It's challenging yourself to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you join? Can you remember the first sports event that you played in Special Olympics, Chris?
It would be the ring it floor hockey. I started in 2004.
Wow. And you
And
must have
then
got the bug because here you are many years later, still active.
and then, and then that summer of 2005, I was on their baseball team. I joined the softball team.
What would you say is your favorite, golf?
Um, it's a toss up between the hockey and golf, but yeah, like for winter sports, it'd be golf. Well, it'd be hockey, and then my favorite for spring and summer would be golf.
Very cool. Yeah, with me, I've always gravitated towards baseball and golf. I was always a summer guy. Like my friends tease me that I should have been an American because I'm not a huge hockey fan. But I'm a Maple Leafs fan, so can you blame me? I mean, gosh, I was 5 years old when they won the Stanley Cup the last time. 5. I was back in the days of dinosaurs.
Oh boy!
Yeah, my dad
Just
took
as
me to the
TV was
parade.
getting colored.
Yeah, that's right. Black and white TV. I know. And my father took me on. We took the train. He worked for the CN Rail, so we took the train down to Toronto. And I mean, I don't really remember it, but he brought me to the Stanley Cup parade in 1967. So yeah, I'm a long-suffering Leafs fan. I'm a long-suffering Pirates fan. Gosh, my basketball team is the Philadelphia 76ers. At least they've done okay. My NFL team is the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey,
Yeah, that's right. We have that in common. So we're still waiting for another championship there. I like the Toronto Argonauts in the CFL. But, yeah, thank goodness we have Mustang football on the Knights. At least they're winning. Although, I got to ask you, Chris, you're a big Knights fan. What's wrong with the London Knights so far this year? They're not winning. They're not scoring goals.
I believe over the years that Mark and Dale took over, I think this is the first time they have to rebuild.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that.
But I believe too with the slow start near the end, they're going to be close to the top. They always pull Hunter magic to pull something off.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're too good to not be there every year. I mean, everybody calls the Knights a miniature NHL, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have a template for success. It's a well-oiled machine, and they'll get going. They're just having a slow start, I think. But I think maybe it's just been a tough year as far as the chemistry with all the players they have. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, boy, Knights fans are so used to just winning all the time.
Yep. I think though it's reality. It's finally kicking in, and they have to deal with it.
Do you follow any other local teams? You must. Mustang football.
We follow the football for Mustangs.
London Majors.
The London Majors, of course, and that's basically it. Those three.
Yeah, London's kind of a, and I've written about this many, many times, Chris, is, how do you define London as a sports town? And I always say it's a city where people want to participate. They would rather go out and ride their bikes or, get into a kayak at Fanshawe Lake or, go out and play tennis or golf than sit and watch somebody play sports. But the exceptions, of course, being the Western Mustang football team during homecoming and the London Knights.
I know as a kid living in London, we would go see the old London Tigers in the
Right.
late 90s or early 90s
Those
there.
were fun times,
So-
weren't they?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a funny story about the London Tigers. So I covered the team, especially from 1991 to 93. And I was one of the photographers that was there every single game. And of course, we didn't have digital photography back then. You had to running to the camera shop with your film and get it printed. So I would go to batting practice every afternoon and I would take photos of the players that were visiting from out of town, guys like Manny Ramirez and Jim Thome and Neon Dion Sanders, all those guys, Albert Bell. And after batting practice, I would run downtown, get them printed 8 by 10, bring them back to the game, and at the end of the game, the players would either buy the photos off me or give me free equipment. So that was a lot of fun. So I still have bats. I have a bat here from Manny Ramirez when he played Double A baseball. Of course, that was the Class A Eastern League, Double A Eastern League. All kinds of great people I met there.
That's cool.
It was a very, very sad day when we lost that team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But getting back to London, I mean, it was a lot to ask to have a team play 2 weeks out of 4. So you're playing the entire week. I think Londoners will, they'll go to a game once a week, like a Knights game. But to ask them to come to 4 or 5 games in 1 week was a little bit too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that was the demise of the London Tigers. But I'll tell you, boy, for 5 years we had a lot of fun. And of course they won the championship in their second year in 1990. So you went to a lot of Tigers games.
Yeah, in their final years we went there. Yeah,
we moved in. Saw you down at the old ballpark.
We moved to London in the beginning of the summer of '93. So yeah, we've been seeing those. But when like the Werewolves came, no, I had no interest in those.
The London Werewolves. So that was an independent pro team, played in the Frontier League, and I think they were here for 2 seasons? I'd have to go back and check my records. They weren't here very long.
No, I thought they folded halfway through their second season.
That's another team you're thinking of. So we had the London Monarchs. Remember the Monarchs?
Oh yeah.
And I think they played a couple months, and then I think the entire league folded. I told you I'm getting old. You're testing my memory now, Lozy.
And then they had that other team. They had that other team that they had to change their name or something because some.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember now. Gosh, there was another team.
Because of Jack the Ripper, they had to change their name or something like that because of that.
That was the Werewolves, and they had a logo that had Jack the Ripper on it. And there were a lot of people locally that didn't think that was right. So they took a lot of heat for that. So, yeah, I remember that now. Gosh, see, all these years you could have been writing stories for me, Lozy. You got a better memory than me when it comes to baseball. Well, let me ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
You love sports as much as I do. What was it about the Special Olympics that really, you knew about it, but what was it that you had that big moment in your head where you went, you know what? Special Olympics, that's where I want to be. That's why it's so special for me.
I think with that is when I played some sports, like I call them normal, with the normies. With the normal people, but like those ones I was not fitted in because I was like the guy that's slow, that I would be on the bench most of the time, than playing kind of thing. And with Special Olympics, I think with that is the coaches and the volunteers and even the athletes treat you all like they treat you the right way, I guess. You're always playing. You do have to sit on the bench a little bit, but it's not a long period of time. You're always going.
So you found it was the right home for you as far as what you wanted to do playing sports.
Oh yeah, because the coaches
That's
and
awesome.
stuff treat everybody equally. There's no, oh, this guy's gonna play more than everybody else kind of thing. Everybody's equal. Doesn't matter what your skill level was.
And I think it speaks so much about what sports can do for somebody's life, right? I mean,
Yeah,
look what it's done. Look what it's done for me. I made a career out of being a sports reporter, and then as an athlete, it gave me an opportunity to play and push myself to be the very best I could be, and to now using that story to inspire other people. And the same thing with you. I mean, Special Olympics, you found your niche, and here you are now. You'll go down in history as the very first Londoner to win a North American Special Olympics golf championship. I mean, that's huge.
yep. And with
So
that is when tragedy happened with my dad. I stopped playing George hockey with them because he would always be there. And then I was going to quit Special Olympics, but then one of the coaches and volunteer people sat down with me and said, "We're not letting you." And they pushed me. And I think with pushing me more to get better and pushing me to engage myself more, and here I am today.
Well,
Yeah.
you're one of my. I always tell people that you're one of my heroes. I said that at the banquet. You're now one of my heroes, and you're right. And we all need mentors, don't we? We all need people in our lives that can help us be the best we can be. And it could be a mentor that just offers you a kind word. Hey, good job. Well done. Keep going. Or it can be a next level mentor, somebody that's a coach, like Coach
Yeah.
Todd. Somebody that's there by your side, pushing you, encouraging you through every round of golf. So
I
there's
remember.
different types of mentors.
Yeah, I had this one coach for floor hockey. His name is Rick Roy. His name is, and we went down. I think it was the Sudbury Provincial Games for the floor hockey at the time, and we were losing 3-2. And there was a call that I didn't like that didn't get called. And after the buzzer went for line change, I hit my stick on the boards and I sat down and I feel a yank on the back of my jersey, and Rick Roy pulls me into the hallway and just lays it into me. You don't hit your stick. You don't, just just give me some stuff. So some of the wording was not the greatest, but I took it. And
In other words, he gave you a pep talk.
oh yeah, and then the buzzer went, and he told me, now get your butt back out there and be that leader that you're supposed to be for this team and that we picked, and take control. And that's what we did. I scored the tying goal, and then I
Nice.
gave in the 3-minute time I scored the tying goal, and then close to the end of the 3-minute period the shift, I passed it off to a teammate of our friend Kevin McMillan, and he scored the winning goal, and yeah. And then after
Awesome.
Rick got me a kid, he said, that's what our captain is supposed to do. Instead of doing
Nice.
that crazy bull crap, slapping sticks around.
I'll tell you. You got time for a quick funny story about hockey?
Yeah, let's go.
So I couldn't play hockey when I was a kid because with my club foot, it was just too hard for me to skate. I didn't learn how to skate till I was 16 years old. I had a friend, his name was Peter Costello, and he took me out to Fanshawe Lake in the middle of winter when the lake used to freeze over, and just me and him for hours, and he taught me how to skate. By the next year, I was playing pickup hockey with the best high school hockey players in London. And then as I became an adult, I became a very fast, they used to call me the Rat because I was small, fast, and dirty. After Kenny Linsman, the Rat. And I was playing in a church hockey league. I didn't go to the church, my mother did, so I got to play for the church hockey league. And we had more fights in the church hockey league than any other league in London. And I got a 3-game suspension. The next Sunday, my mother went to church, and the pastor went up to her and said, you know, your son, he was very bad. I had to sit him out for 3 games. And boy, when my mother came home from church, did I hear about it. So, hey, you're never too old to play hockey, but yeah, that it was pretty rough and tough, that church hockey league.
And it's supposed to be a church league.
5'8". I had to be a little chippy out there.
Yeah.
But that was the extent of my hockey. And then I hung him up probably when I was about 35. Fun times.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you have me on today because, like I say, I'm a big fan of your podcast. I'm going to let even more people know about it. You've had some pretty amazing guests. Actually, I watched one of the past episodes. I think it was a Christmas episode with Rick Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learned a little bit more about the show, and I know Coach Todd is still active behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be. It's too bad, but it happens. But he's still going to help me post and edit each episode for me. So
very good. Well, it's very important what you're doing, Chris, because you're letting people know. I'm a proud Special Olympics athlete, and this is what Special Olympics does. You're a very big part of the community, sports and otherwise. So congratulations on all the success that you've had with this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah. When I started, though, it was really, I think it was the end of the first lockdown. Everybody was like messaging people and stuff like through Facebook and stuff, seeing how everybody was, and I just said, I started a group video call each week and just check in with a lot of my friends, and we would bring other Special Olympic athletes into our group and just check on each other every week and stuff. And then I continued to do that on during the second lockdown, and then I was like, you know what? I think people need to know more. Instead of doing these groups, I researched how to get into the podcast stuff, and that's when I contacted my first guy of Derek Spence. And I said, Derek, do you know podcasts. He's like, oh yeah, I listened to a few of them. Would you like to be a part of one that we can start up? And here I am. 5 seasons in, over 60 plus episodes, and
That is awesome. And Derek is involved with the torch run, correct?
yeah, he works at Special Olympics Ontario. He used to be a London police officer.
Right.
And
right.
then
Big
he
supporter of Special Olympics. Yeah.
yeah, he ran the torch run through there, and then when he retired Special Olympics, he runs the torch run through Special Olympics Ontario. So, yeah.
Very good. So you've had some great people helping you out along the way, and here, how many episodes now?
I think this would be 66 or
Lucky
so.
66. There we go.
But yeah,
Who wore number 66? Was that fellow that played for years, played for the Penguins?
Oh,
You know who I mean.
Lemieux?
No,
Yager.
Yager, 66,
Ya-
right?
No, he was
Was he
68.
66?
Mario
Was he
Lemieux was
68?
66. Yeah,
Okay.
Lemieux
there
was
you go.
66.
There you go. Lucky 66.
But yeah, we had athletes from Wisconsin to Denver, Washington, surrounding London areas. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping it going, buddy, because, like I say, it's important to support Special Olympics, important to support local sports, and, the more people get to know the stories of other people, the more they can be inspired, I think.
Yep. And we had, have you got to the episode with Cam Jansen from the St. Louis Blues?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, we had him on. Mike Stubbs, we had Mike Stubbs on the
Mike.
episode. And we had also Sean McMorrow. He used to play for the London Knights.
Right.
And he got to play one game in the NHL with the Buffalo Sabres in Toronto.
Very good.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go back and watch some of these. I've seen about 14, 15 of your episodes now.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and I've got some binge watching to do. I'm going to binge watch Guardians and Gladiators over the weekend when I'm not watching the New York Yankees.
There we go.
There we go. By the time this airs, they could be down 2-0, though.
But that's where I don't get. People are like, when the playoffs start for the Blue Jays, everybody's like, oh, they get home field advantage and it's going to go in their favor and stuff. But that's where I don't get. Say your team gets home field advantage, but you're playing a team that you're playing a team that has a better home record than you. So if you split 1 and 2, you have 3, 4, and 5 to win at home, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the home team advantage is there in baseball if you're the top team, because you can lose the next 3 games after game 2. If you lose game 2, and you're going back to Yankee Stadium or something.
Right.
They're a better home record. They know how to win. They can win more better at home than us. 3, 4, and 5. That's it.
And I mean, look at the wild card. I mean, you can argue, well, if you're a wild card team, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyways. But still, I mean, it used to be a one game sudden death. Now it's what, best out of
Best
three.
out of 3. Yeah.
And now you get in division series, and it's best out of 5. And then you get into the pennant and the World Series, best out of 7. But I mean, gosh, you look at all the teams from the East Coast in cold weather, although it's been a warm fall, and you know they could be playing in November.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, the World Series are over by now, and they mostly play day games. You know, so it's all about, you know, sure, we've got some extra teams, but it's all about money. How much money can we make by extending the season?
Yeah. It's just the
Anyways, we have another month of baseball, so that's a good thing.
love. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you like to say before we cut it off?
Well, just let me say once again how thankful I am, Chris, for you to have me on the show today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we've inspired some people, both your story and mine, and show people that, you know, athletes come in all different shapes and sizes, all ages. You know, all you can do is give 100%, play by the rules, and if you can inspire somebody else along the way, even better.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So thanks again I really enjoyed this. This was a fun time.
You're welcome. Folks, we had Jeffrey Reed here with us today's episode. And yeah, I hope this reaches out to people and just have fun what you're doing. Until next week, stay safe, be kind, see you later.